Peace, family. Peace, 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 peace. Okay, so I wanted to come live because a few weeks ago, probably about a week ago or so, okay, I had wrote about gaslighting. And I asked pretty much a question like, have anyone ever experienced, a certain type of relationship? Like, maybe you and this person got into an argument, and then, the person, or maybe the person was arguing with you or fighting with you or whatever it was. And maybe when you leave the house and then go back to the house, maybe the person is gonna act like nothing ever happened, right? And where I got that from was when I was in a relationship, okay? And my ex, we would get into arguments, okay? And like maybe it was something that was affecting me, like it was something that was bothering me. And I speak to him about it, and he was it seemed like he didn't really care too much about my feelings, right? Because if I spoke to him and I'm like, oh, I don't like when you do X, Y, and Z, like, he wouldn't really, his perspective was way different than mine, right? And when I would leave the house and come back, he'd say, for instance, oh, you want to watch a movie? And a part of me is like, no, I want to talk about what the hell just occurred before I left, right? Like, I wanted him to see what the hell he done did. So I put that post up, okay? And a young lady, she had just wrote, and she basically was saying, like, she's been, I guess, with her husband for a while, and she be wanting to go through his phone, right? He's like nerdy and stuff, and she be wanting to go through his phone. And I believe she said he has like 3 phones or something. I have one question, okay? Matter of fact, let me start with some stories. 1 second, honey. Okay, so you guys, if you don't know, or if you are new to my page, my channel, my name is Dina Bryant. I do inspirational, honey, I do pretty much, I'm a YouTuber, okay? So this is the thing, okay? I was in relationships and I would go through the guys' phones, okay? Because I didn't trust their asses. And then later on, what really came out was, it wasn't that I didn't trust them. It was more so I didn't trust me, right? And the reason being is, you can't say that you don't trust. Before you could say you don't trust anyone, you first have to say you don't trust yourself. Because the intuition, now I may lose some people on here, and that is okay. Our intuition is always speaking to us, is always telling us certain things. And if you are not listening to your intuition, then you are going to get certain things that probably could have been prevented. For instance, yesterday I met this guy, okay? And me and him started talking. He asked me for, if we could exchange numbers. I don't believe in, asking a guy for his number, so I give him my number, right? And so as me and him talking, he tells me he have 2 phones. Now, the Dina that was desperate when I had 2 children, okay, I used to be, honey, desperate, past desperate, okay? I would accept anything. I would settle, okay? Well, not accept anything, but I did a lot of damn settling, okay? And I wouldn't pay attention to the red flags because you know why? Because I was so geeked to be in a relationship. I really felt me being in a relationship was going to bring some happiness into my damn life. Okay. I thought if someone could love me and do the things that, I wanted, what I wanted somebody to do, I do it, that my life would be, so full of love, happiness, and whatever it is like that. Soon, honey, I started realizing that's not the case. Because if somebody leave, then you're going to be feeling sad the way you felt before they came. So it's very important to make sure that you know how to make your damn self happy. Okay? Happiness is a choice. So the guy that I met, okay, I gave him my number. And one of the things he said was he had 2 phones. So I started, I even said to him, because he said, oh, I had 2 phones, but this phone I'm barely ever on. This is my job phone. And he said he had another phone. So what I said to him was, that's kind of suspicious. Like, you telling me you have 2 phones? Like, to me, that seemed kind of fishy. Needless to say, he texts me and stuff like that. And let me tell you something. I'm the type, nowadays, I make sure I do, if I'm cleaning or if I'm cooking and if a guy call me, I make sure I'm done with what I'm doing before I answer that text message or that call. Because let me tell you something, okay? I had a life before you came, and I'm still going to continue to have a life when you're here and when you go, okay? So that's how I had to start looking at myself and start understanding that you can't be putting people on pedestals, okay? Because if you're putting people on pedestals, basically what you're saying is that they are the main star of your movie. It's your movie, but you bringing somebody from their movie and you making them the main star. So let's get into the story time, okay? So I had an ex, okay? We probably was in a relationship probably for about, I want to say probably for about 8 months or so. And I remember, or it had to be longer because I had my youngest son. And my youngest son now, he's 7. But me and my youngest son, his father, we was together. And I don't know how long we was together for at this time when I seen this, what I'm about to tell you. So my ex, my baby daddy, he had went out with his friends, right? And, I would call him and he wouldn't answer the phone, right? So that was red flag 1. Okay, but let me tell you before I get into the red flags and why I would miss the red flags and why I was oblivious and I didn't want to goddamn see the red flags. See, what you got to start understanding is if you don't take accountability for what's going on in your life is going to continuously be the same. What happened was I got into the relationship with my youngest children's father because I was desperate. Okay. I wanted to be in a relationship and we worked together at the same job and we, I liked him. He was cool. And then we got into a relationship and out of that relationship, we have 2 amazing, beautiful children. Okay. But it was certain red flags that I seen before we became official. One of the red flags was when he would be at my house sometimes, it would be females that would call him and he would be telling me to shush. Yes, he would tell me to shush, okay? And me, like a little nut back then, I would shush because I was afraid, like, oh, if I don't shush, if I make a scene or, cause a chaos or whatever, then he may leave. Okay, so I would shush. Okay, and then later on, I would get at him after he got off the phone, of course, with the female. And so so it was red flags there, but before we even got into a relationship. Okay, so the red flags is always telling. They are always showing. Sometimes we just don't want to accept what it is. Okay, and so he went out with his friends. And he had came back home. And I went through his phone because I knew some shit wasn't right. Because I said, he done went out supposedly to go watch football at a lounge. Okay. When I went through his phone, I had seen that he was asking his friend who he went to the bar with. The friend, his homeboy had brought, I believe, 2 or 3 girls. Okay. And I guess it was a girl for each one of them. And he asked his friend, oh, do the girl like chocolate? Because he's dark skinned. Honey, when I seen that, I flipped. I absolutely positive. I told him, I said, you know what? You got to get the hell out. And I kicked him out. Okay. I kicked him out, but then later on let him right back in. Okay. Did that change anything? No. No, it didn't change anything because he still was doing stuff. I didn't have hardcore evidence, right? Like he was sleeping with, somebody, but I knew he was doing stuff because one, the red flags, okay, the red flags. I also remember one time me and him was working together, and I was calling because he was on lunch, and I was calling, and I noticed like he wasn't answering the phone. So the next day when I got to work, because since we was working together, we worked at a security company. So I could go and look at the cameras, honey. Yes, I was, honey. I was looking at the cameras to see what the hell he was doing and why he wasn't answering the call when I was calling him. This dude went on lunch with another female, and I was very, very jealous. I was insecure. And I felt he was a big liar because I said, why would you lie about that? And if you lying about that, that means you have something to hide. Okay. And so what he would do is, once I find stuff out, he would call a girl in front of my face, because I'd be like, nope, I'm going to be there. So he'll call the girl in front of my face and tell the girl, he'll have it on speak. And I'm listening to, what he telling the girl and stuff and what the girl's saying and all this other stuff. And that's how it went. But my thing to you is, if you going through the guy's phone, that means you have a lot of time, okay? And this may not be something that you want to hear, right? You may be looking at me like, this B don't know what she talking about. You have a lot of time because, look, it could be your husband, it could be your boyfriend, it could be whatever. But if you go through their phone, and if you see something, what are you going to do? I want you guys to tell me, if you see something in their phone, what are you going to do? Are you planning on leaving them? Okay, now some may say, well, it depends on what I see in their phone. Okay. If you see something, are you going to leave them? Depending on whatever it is. Now, you may leave them or whatever, but let me tell you something. The red flags are always there in the beginning. Okay? We don't want to see the red flags because a part of us feel like, well, when I get in that relationship, that's what's going to do it. That's what's going to change my entire life. But let me tell you something. If you are not happy with you, if you do not like you, who is going to like you or be happy with you? Everything on the outside, it do not exist, okay? We attract what we are and who we are. Not what we say we want, not what we say we're going to have one day. We attract who we are. And people only reflect back to you exactly what you are settling for. Okay, so if you are settling, like I told you guys, I was settled so bad. Nowadays, what I do, I pay attention to the damn red flags right in the beginning. Because let me tell you something. Don't tell me the red flags don't show itself in the beginning. Because it's been, 5 guys already that I spoke to, and the red flag showed right in the beginning. Now, I don't know if I was looking for shit or not, but the red flags always show in the beginning. And this was before me and the 5 guys that I gave my number to, before we even went on a date. Okay? So the red flags always show in the beginning. You got to ask yourself, by going through that person's phone, is that going to change? Is that going to change something? Because if you seek and ye shall find, if you looking for something, you may find it. But you got to ask yourself, when you find it, what are you going to do? Yeah, because when I seen stuff in the guys who I dated, I seen stuff in their phone. You know what I did? I went right back. I went back to them. So you got to ask yourself, by going through the phone, is that going? I had a friend. Me and him worked together. And I would give my friend like I would tell him all the stuff that I was doing. The people I was sleeping with, I would tell him everything. And when I was in a serious relationship, I told him about my baby daddy, right? How I would go in his phone and I would see stuff. And this friend of mine will always give me the game. He would talk to me about radio silence, no contact, all this stuff. He would just give me all the game, okay? And sometimes I would listen to what he would tell me to do, whether it would be, don't talk to the guy, the guy acting a certain type of way, like he don't want to be bothered. You don't talk to the guy, right? Because what I also realize is men are hunters and they know exactly what they want. Okay. So if a guy is like, playing wish-washy or acting like he don't, 1 minute he hot, next minute he cold, honey, you got to ask yourself, do you want to be on that mental roller coaster with him? Okay, because men know exactly what they want. And so I told my guy friend, I said, listen, I be seeing stuff in his phone. And one of the things my guy friend said, well, why you keep going in it? Why you keep going in the phone? Because you don't have to go through the phone in order to see stuff, in order to see that the person is messing around. Because let me tell you something, energy is real. And when people do stuff continuously, you will start picking up on it. Okay? You'll start picking up on it. You'll start seeing the way they was moving before, way they was moving yesterday. It's not the same way they was moving today. You'll start seeing it. So you don't have to continuously go through the phone. What I'm saying is, if you're going through the phone, if you see some stuff in there that you may not want to see, are you planning on leaving that person? That's the question. Do you plan on leaving them? Because if not, if you see something, you get upset, you argue with them and all that other stuff, and you stay with them, what's the use of continuously still going back in a phone? Because sometimes people see the stuff in the phone and you argue, you complain, and then you just stay with the person. So I mean, what's the use of going in the phone? That's my question. Okay. So I wanted to come on here real quick and talk to the young lady who had wrote something. First off, let me say this. I appreciate you guys for leaving comments, even if your perspective is different than mine. It doesn't matter. Okay. I like the fact as though. That's right. And that's another thing. There is another thing, John. Good point. When you're not looking for it, that's when you get it. When you like, I need to be in a relationship. Because there's needy energy. That energy is like, I need to be in a relationship, so I'm going to look past everything, and I'm just going to get into the relationship of a God that shows like a little, minute potential. When you could be with somebody way better than that. But because you so eager to be in a relationship, because you looking at the end of things, the end meaning that you are like, well, when I get in that relationship, he just gonna make me happy. Or she just gonna make me so complete. If you feel that way, let me tell you something about people, even myself, okay? People are wish-washy, okay? They flip-floppy. 1 minute they this way, next minute they that way. And if you want somebody to show you something or give you something, they cannot give you what they don't have. But let me tell you something. If you become it, then you are attractive. If you become it, you will attract it. But you have to become it. And you can't have this ideology where though you say sometimes, well, I want to be in a good relationship. I want to be I know, John. You know what, John? You know what? I started, started thinking to myself. I even told who was it? Was it my oldest son? I said I don't even think about it. But because it's like you start enjoying yourself so much that if when it happens, it happens. Did you guys see my video earlier that I posted? The creamy coconut chicken. Did you see that video? Oh, I probably took the part. I was dancing. You ain't gotta have a whole bunch of people around you to have a good time. No, I was in the kitchen dancing, listening to Ain't Nobody Loves Me Better, Makes Me Happy. Ooh, I was listening to that dancing. Okay? You gotta know how to make yourself happy. Okay? Make yourself happy. You got happiness is a choice. It's a choice. You decide. Do I want to be happy? Or am I gonna put my happiness on hold, wait for somebody to come to give me the illusion of happiness? Okay? But then if they leave, then you're sad again. So you gotta ask yourself. Are you putting so much energy into someone else? Are you bringing somebody from their own movie and making them the star of yours? Here you are the producer, the director, the star, but you acting like an extra in your own movie and bringing that husband or that wife and you making that person the main star of your movie. And half of the time they not even the main star of their own movie. But you have so much potential. You have so much power. So much potential. So much power. You got to start seeing yourself as being deserving. Deserving. You got to start seeing yourself as John, you better speak to them, John. You better. I heard somebody say, if you don't like being with you, who gonna like being with you? If you can't spend time with yourself, who gonna want to spend time with you if you don't even like spending time with your own self? And it's you with you. I had to start changing some things. I had to start seeing why I would do some of the things that I tend to do. And some of you guys may not want to hear it, but it stems back to childhood. It stems back to childhood. Now, I'm not saying, your parents, because your parents did the best that they knew how to do. Okay? They couldn't give you something that they did not have. But if you're gonna keep on beating yourself up and keep on recreating that pain that feels familiar to you when you was a child, honey, you gotta forgive yourself. You gotta forgive yourself first, and then forgive whoever was the caregiver or whatever. You gotta forgive yourself. Once upon a time, I used to ask the question, "Why I gotta forgive myself? They the ones who did the stuff, right?" You forgive yourself because you keep on holding on to that venom. In the words of Dr. Wayne Dyer, one of the things he said was, it's not the snake bite that kills the person, it's the venom that kills the person. It's the poison, the toxic, all that stuff. That's what kills the person. But honey, you a whole star, okay? You a whole star. And if they don't know it, guess what? It's because you don't know it. If they don't know you the whole star, honey, if they don't know who they talking to. They don't know who they talking to. Okay, well, I guess they don't know who you be. Evidently, they don't. Okay, and you don't either. Cause if you knew, they know. So with that being said, I love you guys. 25 minutes. It don't even feel like I was on here that long. Um, but I love you guys. Make sure you're rocking out, believing in yourself. Do understand whatever it is that you want to attract, honey, you can attract it. But first you gotta become it. Okay. And mm, mm-hmm. And just understand you the star. You the star. Okay? You gotta start walking around and operating like you the star of your movie. Okay? You can't feel like that somebody else is putting people on a pedestal more than yourself. You're like, oh well, this person. I would call guys, call them and call them and call them, and then honey, I would make excuses why I'm calling so much, because my mother would say, "Dina, you calling that boy again?" And I would say, "Oh yeah, ma, I'm just calling him because of, maybe because of a shirt. I'm just calling him so many times because of his shirt. I'm just calling him so many times because of this. I'm just calling." One of my aunts, one of the things that she would say was, a guy she would say, "I do not call a guy once they leave from here. I do not call them." Okay, because to chase somebody is basically saying you don't know your power. If you chasing them, then that means that energy that should be going in you putting it all out to someone else. So ask yourself, honey, if you see what's in their phone, what you finna do? Ask yourself that. But if you get so busy, you won't. if you if you see something in their phone, what you finna do? Okay, you better before you go on that phone, you better have a game plan. Like, oh well, if I see X, Y, and Z, but you may have a game plan. It may completely change once you see whatever is in their phone. But become so busy that you ain't even got time to look at the phone. You ain't even got time to see what they doing or whatever. And sometimes, we tend to, and I know, right? Like, all right, that's your husband and stuff like that. And I get it. But sometimes it's like we try to make people our possessions, right? And I get it, death do us part and all this other stuff, and but just ask yourself, if you see something, because whatever you looking for, like they say, seek and ye shall find. Okay, honey? Okay. So with that being said, I love you guys. Also, some of you guys may know I read, okay? This book right here, The Power of the Subconscious Mind by Joseph Murphy, honey. This book is it. This is it. With that being said, I catch you guys on the next one. Peace.